Hi there, everyone. We're just going to wait 1 or 2 minutes. We've got some later arrivals, and then we'll get going with the webinar. But thanks for joining. Yeah, just 1 or 2 minutes, and we'll get started. Okay, I'll get started. I think anyone else who's joining will catch up, I'm sure. So welcome everyone. Thanks for joining today. I'm Elliot Pittham. First of all, I'm from Everbridge, and I'm accompanied by John Haley from Moogsoft. And today we're going to be talking to you about how we can improve AIOps, sorry, get those words wrong, and incident response using xMatters and Moogsoft together, and how they complement each other in this space. So I'm Elliot, as I was saying. I've been part of Everbridge, well, and certainly the xMatters acquisition, which from a year and a half ago. But I've been in the company over 15 years, and you know, I specialize often in integrations and working out systems and solutions for our customers. John, would you introduce yourself, please?
Certainly, thank you, Elliot. My name is John Haley. I'm Vice President of Product and Market Strategy at Moogsoft. I've been in this industry for many, many years, too many years to count. My main function at Moogsoft is I'm responsible for product direction, and I spend a lot of my time talking to customers who help us shape the future of the Moogsoft platform. So I spend a lot of time talking to customers, and in this particular case, I spend a lot of time working with our partners, just like Everbridge and Elliot, to really build out really good solutions for you to be able to take advantage of. Thanks, Elliot.
Thanks, John. Yeah, that's great. So I'll get started with we've got a couple of slides, and then we're going to go into a demonstration, so you get to see how these things fit together. This slide actually John's going to cover, because this, of course, will explain how and why would you use Moogsoft. So, John.
Thanks, Elliot. Moogsoft addresses a number of issues that are common throughout the marketplace. Many customers are inundated with many alerts coming from different monitoring tools, and it can be somewhat overwhelming dealing with the volume of alerts that are coming through. And in some cases, which is really the main issue here, is that the important alerts get missed. They either scroll off the screen, or you've got to be looking at multiple screens. But the bottom line is that there's too much data and there's not enough context in the alerts that you're dealing with. So what that means is that you're constantly fine-tuning your monitoring tools to maybe even change the threshold so that there's not as many alerts being generated, and that in itself is not a good thing. We also find that some customers have a lack of monitoring, where they may be looking at their networks or their storage or their databases, but there are areas that they may be lacking within their monitoring tool stack. And when they are presented with the data, you know, what does it really provide them? Does it really provide the context that allows you to take action and really, at the end of the day, you know, mitigate and reduce that mean time to restore or mean time to repair for any business outage that you may have? There are legacy tools out there, commonly known as event management tools, but these are very user intensive. They require a lot of administrative overhead in writing hundreds, if not thousands, of rules to achieve similar outcomes. So, you know, Moogsoft is really about being proactive, providing you with early detection of issues before they do become an outage, and really eliminate the need for these war rooms or always fighting fires. So We're going to see more when we access the product, but at a high level, this is why Moogsoft exists. Back to you, Elliot.
Great, thanks, John. So if we look at the Moogsoft xMatters piece together, you can see all the different monitoring systems on the left, and these can be any of your monitoring systems. That we have way between xMatters and Moogsoft, we have probably thousands of different integrations. But one of the common challenges we saw, and one of the reasons that attracted us, to work with Moogsoft to solve this problem, was we can very easily integrate to all these systems ourselves. But the challenge is there's too much noise, like John was just talking about. There's all this data, all these different alerts coming from these different systems. And if you're on the receiving end of those, whether you're looking at screens or whether you're even just receiving emails like lots of our customers do today, there's a lot of information. Or even if you automatically ticket based on a monitoring tool, there's a lot of information there, and it will overwhelm a service desk or individuals involved in trying to triage and resolve those issues quickly and timely, so you're not going to have a service outage of some kind. So by combining Moogsoft, we can then reduce all this noise down to small amounts of noise, like this here on the right-hand side. And that allows us then to talk to these other business processes you have. So we can talk to your incident management process, what service desk you're using. In some cases, our clients will have 2 or 3 service desks for different purposes at times, depending on their structure. And they might want to automate some remedial action automatically based on one of these incidents that's been created from Moogsoft. So it's really important that we can determine through the intelligence of Moogsoft which ones we should be looking at, and then being able to take some actionable process, if you like, an automation from that. We can send automatically comms out to stakeholders, telling them to go to dashboards, or even sending them just email updates, or whatever is your preference in terms of the comms side. We can get resolvers engaged on Microsoft Teams or Slack or Zoom or different conference bridges, or any other method you use, any other tools, whether they be chat tools or conference bridging or other platforms. We can talk to them through our integration ability, which we'll look at in the demonstration. And if things get really serious and you need to engage the business at a really sort of crisis level, this is very severe business impacting. You may need to involve your crisis management teams, your business continuity teams, your risk teams. And when that's the case, we can just use one of our other Everbridge modules, not xMatters, to engage those and kick off what we call critical events and follow that whole incident process there. So you don't need to understand what all the different parts of the business through one common platform. These combined, you can integrate to all these different aspects of your business. So we're going to start to look at this now, and we're going to go for a demonstration. John's going to kick this off, and then I'll be taking over as we go. But John, whenever you're ready, thanks.
Thank you, Elliot. Now what I'd like to do is talk more about Moogsoft. As a new user, when you first come into Moogsoft, you're presented with this screen, this flow diagram that really allows you to visualize the flow of your incident management processes. And this is a really simple self-service platform that allows you to get started extremely quickly. So you get to this screen when you sign up to access the platform, and straight away you just hover over a particular item and there'll be an explanation as far as what that item is talking about. You could in fact click on any of these objects and it will take you directly to that function within the application. So again, the design of the Moogsoft platform is to be self-service, very intuitive, and really drives time to value in days and weeks. If I start with our high-level dashboard, what you're seeing at a glance is at the very top, you're seeing the metrics related to the value you're getting out of Moogsoft. So straight away, for today, I can see the number of events that I've ingested. I've gone through the deduplication process, down to X number of alerts. And then as part of our algorithms, we then use our machine learning to take these alerts and correlate them down into a fewer number of incidents. And straight away, you can see what that reduction of noise looks like for any given day. So this is really important to be able to track and monitor how your AIOps platform is doing. Now, here we're looking at our real-time dashboard. It's updating all the time. It's looking at the business in a holistic manner. I'm looking at all of my applications and services, and I can see the state of my business very easily. Now, I can see and I can use a particular application to drill down into further levels of detail. So if I pick this application, it's a checkout online e-commerce application. I'm going to click on the one critical incident that I have. It gives me a description of this incident. It shows that the number of alerts that have been correlated with this particular incident. And if I click on the incident itself, it then shows me below all the alerts, the 19 alerts that have come from all the different monitoring tools within my infrastructure, whether they're coming from my on-prem legacy applications or whether they're my cloud native applications. Moogsoft provides a holistic view into that business service. Not only are we looking at events, but we're also looking at metrics. Metrics have come a long way over the last few years, whether they're metrics that have been ingested from a tool such as AWS CloudWatch or Datadog or Prometheus. Moogsoft has the ability to ingest these metrics and look for anomalies and trends before an outage may even occur. So combining events and metrics into your incidents provides you with great insights into what's going on within your business service. But it doesn't stop there, because this is where the cooperation and the integration between Moogsoft and xMatters really adds tremendous value. So if I then click on the outbound tab, what you'll see in this particular example is that I've integrated with a number of tools. I've started up a Zoom meeting. I've created a document in Confluence where teams can collaborate and document the process. I've opened a ticket in ServiceNow, and I've also sent a note into a specific Microsoft Teams channel. But what's most important here is that I've escalated this incident to xMatters. And any of these links allow me to just simply click on and take me directly to that tool. So if I use xMatters and I click on the link, it's going to take me directly to the incident within xMatters, so that the users that are working out of xMatters have seamless control over the incident as if they were in the Moogsoft console. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Elliot, who'll take it over from here.
Great. Thanks, John. So we just saw the incident that John was just talking about. And of course, if you're on part of a resolver team and so on, you'll need to be able to react to some of these messages. And if we look at my phone, which I've got here, you'll typically be sent the high-level information from the system. But what you will want to do is also be able to provide some kind of action. And these actions are very configurable to our particular client's use case. But for example, you may want to assign something to you. And if I was to click assign to me now, what this would do is it would send it all the way back to Moogsoft and assign that incident to me and update Moogsoft. Or I could escalate it, say I'm not available right now because I'm doing this webinar. And that would then go to another one of my colleagues using the escalation process that's configured in xMatters. And we could also create a critical event, which is where, you know, this is very serious. We need to now create a critical event, engage other parts of the business to help resolve this particular issue. Or I could even resolve or close it. And then we appreciate resolving or close. You may have to add other information as part of that process. So I just wanted to show that this is just using our mobile app. and so you can receive alerts. You can even send and request help from others to assist in resolving an issue, and also even look at things like your schedule if you wish. So that could be very useful. I'm in this cloud support group, which is why I was notified of this particular issue right now. Now, if we go to into xMatters, this was the screen John was just showing. Cool. Just while it decides what it's doing. Sorry, it had timed out.
You've got to love single
Okay,
sign-on.
so this was the yes. This is the screen John was just showing, you know, here we've got we appreciate you don't want to manage an incident across multiple systems. We don't need you to log into here to do this, but it can be sometimes useful because we're collecting all the information from Moogsoft and the monitoring systems, as well as who's doing what, who's been notified, what services are impacted, what's the ticket. I could click here and go back to Moogsoft. What's the Teams channel, but also at a very granular level, what's actually occurred, what's occurred since the beginning, who's been notified. So I've got a really nice timeline here, and I can change the status here if I needed to. And you know, the key thing is that this would be reflected bidirectionally across the systems. Now, where the real power comes in to this is, you know, we've used all this machine learning and artificial intelligence to get this far, to this important incident that we do need to look at. But we need to be able to change then, what do we do when we get that? Oh, this one's timed out as well. It's just that time. Oh my God, yeah. So what we can do is, seem to have lost it. There we go. Just wait for this to get me back into the system. Sorry about that. I've been in there a couple of hours and it's just done one of its default timeouts. So what we have in xMatters is a workflow editor called Flow Designer, which will load shortly. And what it allows us to do is control what happens when we get one of those incidents from Moogsoft. So this is a drag and drop interface, and it allows us to configure the business process or even the technical resolving process, whatever we want within here. And we can add logic and steps and integration points and talk to other systems. And so if you look on the right hand side where I've got apps here, you can see I've got Microsoft Teams and I've got different tools, ServiceNow. You know, I could update or create an incident or add a comment, Salesforce, Remedy, many different systems we can talk to, and we can literally just, if we wanted to add something to a process, we could, you know, post a message to Teams by dragging it over and connecting it to this flow. Okay, so it's very simple to add and change and integrate to different systems. And where we saw those response choices from that message I just had, there was assign to me, that's this one. If you assign, it goes and updates Moogsoft, it assigns that to me, it adds a note and it sends a comment. And we can talk to any system via webhooks in this way, and other integration methods. We can ingest emails, we can parse emails, we can, you know, whatever your system does, it's very easy to build your own workflow and make it your own, so to speak. But as an integration, what we'd do is we typically would have this as a start point that you would start, and then you can edit the flows as you wish. And we've got triggers from many systems. I'm just showing these on the right here. Many systems, you know, can trigger this automatically if you wish, and that can be very useful to give you a start point if you're creating your own workflows. So what we find is this combination of using Moogsoft and xMatters together, and this combination of drag and drop workflow editing allows us and our customers to very easily adapt and manage incidents and automate some of those gaps that you would typically have in the manual process today, where you might call people or have to log a ticket. We can automatically log a ticket from here in another system. We can automatically query another system, and that can be very useful if you've got data elsewhere we need to look at. So that brings us to the end of our very quick snapshot of what we wanted to show today. I'm just going to check if we've had any questions, and we will go from there. So 1 second, just double check. Okay, so John, I've got a question for you. One is, what would be the typical methods that are used to ingest data into Moogsoft? Does that make sense?
Yeah, good question, Elliot. And let me, if I may, just take back the screen for a quick second. So within Moogsoft, you know, we have our integrations, we have our ingestion services, we have what I would call our standard out-of-the-box type integrations that, you know, you can easily and quickly configure, whether it's CloudWatch or any of the cloud providers, whether it's any APM tools such as AppDynamics or Dynatrace. There's a wide variety, both on the on-prem legacy, but also cloud around Prometheus, etc. So that's one method. The second method is that Moogsoft has its own native agent, if you call it. It's basically a very easy installation process to install the Moogsoft agent. And then once the agent is installed, we have a number of plugins that allow you to configure the collection of metrics coming from different sources. So that's the second method, is installing the Moogsoft collector. The last method, which is probably the most exciting, is really create your own integration. So any data source that can send Moogsoft a JSON payload can be integrated into the Moogsoft platform. So that could come from another tool. It could be coming from your own applications where you're able to send JSON payloads to Moogsoft. So Moogsoft has a number of different methods in ingesting data that I thought would address that question. So back to you, Elliot.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great. Thanks, John. Yeah, we've got so, you know, as we look at the you know, the different ingestion methods, I mean, you know, that's clearly how, you know, we're integrating using one of those as well. Now, one of the other questions I think will be directed to me is, I showed the actions on the mobile app, and it was, you know, is it easy to change what they do? And yes, that's also a very good question. And what I'll do is I'll just quickly show that. So if we go back into our flow designer, and if you remember down here where I was just showing these response options, because I've got the ability to add anything, whether it's another system, for example, I mean, and that might be a good example to show, is if I did literally pick update a system in some way, like add a comment to ServiceNow, for example, if someone had ServiceNow, I could just add that in and say, right, when someone clicks escalate, I'm going to add a comment into the ticket and actually add in that comment, you know, Elliot's not available, escalation process started, and that will then update the ticket in that way. Or if I needed to trigger an automation, we can talk to agents that are sitting on your own network that make outbound connections only to look for instructions. So we sort of, you know, comply with that security side of things. So we can kick off anything. And one of our other demos that we sometimes do is we restart a web service process that's running on a web server remotely as part of a demonstration. So yeah, it's a very flexible. You don't have to use our terminology. The responses and the options in that can be anything you want. So thank you very much for those questions. I don't think we've got any others, so we'll at this stage say thank you for joining us today, and look forward to speaking to you and on other webinars in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.